Hello everyone, it's Ruchika Nirvan here. I'm a psychologist, counseling professional, DIR flow time practitioner, and director at Learn and Play. So, Learn and Play is happy to organize our very first episode on parent training. And we are celebrating Parent Training Month in the entire November to spread more awareness and educate more parents so that it can help so many of parents and professionals both. So our today's topic is teaching strategies for autism. As we see, like we usually hear a lot about my child is not able to concentrate, he's unable to put so much attention when we are on doing a tabletop activity. And at times we see a lot of distractors, we say, they come in between and they play a different role for our kids learning. Some kind of a strategies we require to sustain the attention and to maintain the concentration. So how we can do all this? For the same, I think Tina is here, and she's a special educator. And let's hear some more from her. Hi, Tina. Hello.
Hi,
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, all good. So, can you tell something about yourself,
Yeah,
all the people? Yeah.
yes, I'm a special educator and psychologist based in Bangalore. I teach kids with developmental and intellectual disabilities. Yes, I use structured remediation programs and I also teach kids the NIS curriculum, help them with their assessments, assignments, and also their practicals. So today I'll be giving a small speech on the teaching strategies which can be adopted for autistic kids. So
Yeah,
this will be very helpful for the parents
I'm
and
sure.
them, yeah, so they know get to know the world, their world much better. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Tina, you right. So let's
Let's
start
start with
then.
the yeah. Welcome all to this presentation on teaching strategies for autism. Before going into the strategies, I'll just give a brief introduction about the uh, what is autism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see, autism, the word itself has a tremendous impact on the parents and individuals who have been affected with autism. So if you see, it's a spectrum disorder which is known to affect the communication skills and also the interaction and the social skills of the kids or an individual who's been diagnosed with this. And the cause for this disorder is still unknown known. And this is the in today's world, this is one of the fastest growing disability. Every 21 minutes one child is being diagnosed with this disorder. So if you see the world of an autistic kid, it's very unpredictable. They're not sure of what comes next in their daily life. So there are many prominent persons who have been diagnosed with this disorders, and they have proven themselves very efficient in today's world. It is through the lives of these people that we have got insights of how an autistic world will be. One such person is Temple Grandin, and then she is a 73-year-old prominent proponent of animal slaughter, and she's also an autistic spokesperson. As in, she has put on rights for autistic children and also for adults who have been diagnosed with autism. In 2010, in Times 100, she was named one among those in the heroes category. As quoted by her, I used to think adults spoke a different language. I think in pictures, words are like second language to me. these were a quotes on how an autistic person perceives the information. You see, their world is full of visual images. Yes,
True.
they are their strength itself is visual images. Visual imagery is their strength, and this verbal language is very complicated for them. They can understand the world only through visual pictures. Pictures. So we as parents or teachers can adopt these few strategies which can modify the world a bit so that it will help them to decode the present information which is there in their hands. And so here in this few slides, I'll be discussing few strategies which can aid them to learn well. And so I'll be talking about four strategies: the visual strategy, adapted shared reading, detailed instruction, creating a structured learning environment. And if you see, for all these strategies, there is a very common approach for them. Um, like organizing and scheduling the work tasks, ensuring that the tasks are practical and relevant. Always make sure that you give them tasks which are very simple and achievable. And the task should be of their interest. Yes, choose the task which they like to do. You and also which they can accomplish in a limited period of time. And always when you give them tasks, schedule it, order it, number them. And so it's easy for them to understand what comes next. And also use visual pictures. Yes. So they comprehend better. Yeah. And also if you see the working environment plays a major role in an autistic kid's life. They cannot handle chaos or a disturbed environment. They get highly distracted. So it's very crucial to give them a designated work area which is very calm, subtle,
Mhm.
with not much of noise
But I want
and
to ask
you know,
something here, Tina.
yeah,
Like yeah, like you say, like we should provide them a place, assign them a place where there is
yeah.
no noise and things like that. So, many parents they ask me this question, like the child won't be like fixed to that environment, and if they'll get a variation, there might be chances that they might not concentrate. So why not give them this entire, variation of the places?
When I say designated access, see, some point of the time we all will talk. We are all actually today talking about inclusive education also, right? Right?
Yeah.
We don't, as parents, if we think that we don't want a child to be in a special school or anything, so we want them to be one among other kids in a normal school.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, we make sure they work and organize the space for them. Mm. That's what it means here actually. When I say allocate specific work area, so you don't give them bright lightings. You make schedules, stick it wherever like they can see
Hmm.
with all schedules for them organized.
Yeah.
And rather than explaining them the concept, it is better if you demonstrate the concept, show them the concept. And also when they accomplish this task, always make sure that you reward them because this will motivate them a lot.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Okay, one more
yeah.
thing. The reward should be
Huh.
like a social reward or something, like
Give them a star,
edible.
have a chart, give them a star, tell them this many stars,
So the
you will
thing
win.
is that the rewards cannot just always be chocolate and a toffee or
Yes,
something like that.
it cannot always be materialistic. Okay. So just give them a star, keep a chart for rewards. Tell them, oh wow, today you did this. So I'll give you one star, a golden star. So this many golden stars, you win a chocolate. A
Yeah.
token economy, something like
Yeah.
that they can do.
Hmm.
And so that will motivate them to get the next star also. So, okay, I've
True.
got one. My mama has told me I need 5 stars so that I win a dairy milk. Or
Yeah.
she'll take me to a date. So I need 4 more stars, so I need to complete the other task also.
Right,
So this will
right.
motivate them to perform
And
better
this
actually.
will also modify their known as behaviors. Like this will,
Yes.
the more they will become self-regulated, the behaviors will go down, and rewards will make them much better and
Yeah,
better.
yes. And
Yeah,
yeah, this basically helps them with self-regulation. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So I'm keen to see the next one.
Yeah. So if you see all these strategies, they are grouped into 4 areas. Areas like capacity of work, which is nothing but the workload. You know, when we talk about workload, you can see that the work tasks, the homework, and everything is very stressful for these kids. It's so make sure that always you give them a workload which is achievable well by these kids. Kids,
Mm.
for example, ask them to choose which is of their interest. So they perform better, they accomplish that little quicker when you do that. Then coming to work tasks and present the same concept in a different ways. So, for example, if you're teaching a toddler alphabets, it's use different techniques to teach alphabets. One day you present them, giving them plastic letters, so they get to feel the letters also. The next day, when you're teaching them the same alphabets, use sand trace. Let them trace the alphabet and let them trace the letter on the sand trace and trace. And then give them clay. Let them model the letters. So when you do this presentation in different ways, is the boredom is avoided here. There is no
Yeah,
rigidity
yeah,
also. And it not only involves visual strategies, it also involves kinesthetic activities. So anything you do using sensory play and all, right, the retaining is much better. The child
yeah.
learns it much, the concept is learned much faster and better. It is retained better. Yeah. And also for autistic kids, you see, they have a very limited understanding of the concept of time. They they just go on and on and on. They don't
Yeah.
know within this time frame you have to complete it. So the best method would be to use an analog clock. Keep an analog clock near the work area and keep a red dot, like where they have to put a red dot on the clock and indicate when the needle comes to that red dot, they have to stop doing the work.
Mhm.
And once when they do this, is give them some reinforcements and praise them, and then give them small rewards like appreciate them and give them feedback and positive reinforcement. Yeah, we call them positive reinforcement. So something like that, so they also get to know over a period of time they need to stick on to this
Yeah.
schedule. Yeah.
And this is what is expected out of them. They understand.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, this is what is expected out of them. Yeah, yeah, because if you see in social skills and all, this is very important. They need to be time oriented to complete the task and everything. Yeah,
Yeah, but this might not come at one go. Maybe parents need
yes,
to expose it like two, three times, and then maybe they become a pro in finishing on right
correct.
on the red dot. Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
right.
So schedules, okay, schedules are nothing but formats like flow charts, like small photo albums, like small business cards and everything. So what you do is the daily task or any concept or anything you're teaching, break them into small steps and put them in the flow charts, number them, sequence them, and tell them this is the order. So this comes after
Hmm.
this. So it not schedules, if you see, they form a great concrete for the management practices is to incorporate better behavioral strategies in these for these kids. It's they not only help them with organizing and all, even if kids who struggle with writing skills also, they you can put out this comic pictures, stickers and all to help them to pull out the words. So you can also put some keywords. So for increasing their vocabulary words in the schedule itself, you can put keywords. so which they can use to frame a sentence and all this. Yes. So this schedule can be used in various different ways is to improve their work.
Mm-hmm.
Then coming to the work environment. And so the environment has a major impact on the working pattern. So as I said earlier, give them designated areas to work because these kids, they cannot handle chaotic environment. When once they are into a chaotic environment, it create an anxiety within them. It create a disturbance within them. In them. And whenever they achieve or accomplish a task, always reward them or give them a positive feedback because this will
Hmm.
help them in aiding in constructive
Yeah.
learning.
And one more thing I
Now,
want to
moving on to this fact,
One more thing I want to
yeah,
add in work environment is like they get a they get a zone, right? An appropriate zone that this is my table time and
mm,
this is my play time. So or I can after this table time I can do play. So visually also
yeah,
they demarcate. They start demarcating that this is my study time. I
yes,
have these are the expectations expected out of me. So I will sit and do, and then I'll go and play. So in a way, they
true,
build this. Learning also. Yeah.
correct, yeah. See, that's the major drawback, right? They cannot handle any surprises. They don't
Yeah,
know when something suddenly comes up. They don't know how to respond to that. So when
right.
we give them a designated work and we tell them like what, see this is here, this is here, like few days or over the months, they get it as a routine. We can try slowly. We can try. We can. It's not necessary that we have to always stick on to these schedules and everything. When we know that they are confident enough with the schedule, slowly we can remove them and see how the work is going on. Yeah,
Yeah.
that also we can do.
So, but one more thing,
Now
like
moving on to this strategy.
when we
Yeah.
talk about the schedules, okay, when we talk about scheduling something, okay, so I am sure parents would like to know that will they use it in their day-to-day chores, daily living skills? Is it going to be helpful? Not only for academics, I'm
Yes.
saying, but for like for
Yes.
example, like learning a
Not
simple
only for academic.
non-fire
Yeah.
cooking, or learning how to change my clothes, or learning how I can
Mm.
basically my daytime, my entire day schedule. So schedules will give them predictability, and it will lower their anxiety, and that is why they feel more sure and certain about the things.
Yes, very true. Yeah. So you can actually this daily life task itself. Take a simple task of organizing their cupboard itself. Yeah. You can
Yeah,
give them the schedule.
yeah.
Yeah. So you can tell them keep in rack one, put this. In rack two, these items can go. In rack three, these items can go. So once this is out, make sure it goes in. So with whenever you make a schedule, also include some visual pictures. Yes. So it will help
Mm.
them to understand better.
Yeah,
Yes. So
yeah,
they can relate to it. Yes. So all our
yeah.
ADL skills and all can be taught by using schedules. Use.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they,
because our kids are usually strong in visual. Their visual
yeah.
performance is usually high, and we can use this positive skill in teaching them so many
Yeah.
things
True.
around. Yeah. Okay.
So now moving on to the visuals, moving on to the strategies is we'll first see what are these visual strategies. Is as I said earlier, these autistic kids they have great visual strength. Right. So it is vital to use these a range of visual strategies to improve their understanding and positive interaction with learning. So if you see many prominent adults with autism, they have given us much better understanding of the visual strengths rather than using confusable words. I'm not sure like how many you would have seen now most of us are into this habit of series on Netflix and all, right? There's one series called Good Doctor. Here, in this kid is an autistic doctor. This young doctor is autistic, and whatever ailment or a patient comes in front of them, and they explain their ailment, he will visualize entire human anatomy will come in his mind. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anybody who would watch this series, no, they will understand how their world is actually. Very nicely. Then that thing is very nicely shown in that series. The entire body anatomy will come. Okay, here is the problem. Here is the problem. This is what I have to do. All the graphical pictures and all very nicely
Depicted. Yeah.
shooted in that. Yeah, very nicely displayed in that series. So that's how you get to know how okay this is their world. This is how they yeah, like, we all understand through text.
Yeah.
But they understand only through images.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
yeah.
also one more thing, like two-dimensional and three-dimensional, like 2D to 3D and
Ah,
3D to 2D, like it
ah,
varies in from child to child.
yes, very
Yeah.
true. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. This is one. The human anatomy itself, right, it just comes in front of his mind, and you can see, okay, this is the thing here, the blood flow is kind of getting constricted. Here, this is what I have to do. This is why the heart is pumping like that. It's a very nice stepwise. It is very orderly and very very well. It's a very beautiful series actually. Ellie.
Mm,
And if you see these
nice.
visual strategies, they are defined as two-dimensional or three-dimensional representations of a particular concept which is used to communicate and teach an idea or a concept to these kids. It's, and visual strategies, they can strengthen the child's understanding of the communication in his or her environment itself. So it provides them a direction. It helps them with comprehension. It also helps them to rectify a situation and also make better sense of the world. So, if you think there are actually two types of visual strategies which we can adopt. One will be the first one will be the movement based visual strategies, like use of gestures and all. Here on and use of signs. Here, the communicator can use hand movements and or body gestures to express the idea or the concept. And so the child can pick up from those and they can imitate those back. Right? So they can also, this communicator can also use signs to show the emotions. So if it's an happy emotion, how it will be a smiley on a picture of a smiley. Then if it's a sad emotion, then a picture of a sad face with the lips drawn on inward. Yeah, then angry emotion with a frown on the with eyebrows and all frowned up. So these kind of signs and these kind of gestures will help them understand better. The vocabulary words, the meanings of those words and all are understood better when you use gestures and signs. Hence, the second type of visual strategy is material-based visual strategy, which includes the reading and the writing program. Yeah. So all these writing tasks also they can be broken down into small steps. There's one technique called as red bus, where we would all seen this in a storybook. In some of the storybooks, once upon a time, a king. So instead of writing the king, there'll be the picture of a king there.
Yeah.
So the child better understands who a king is, how does he look. So castle means there'll be a picture of a castle, how a castle looks, and all. So those kind of reading materials are available, which a parent can use to help the kids to understand and relate and comprehend better.
You
And
want to
picture
say
based,
visual picture books?
yeah, visual picture books and picture based cards are there
Yeah.
there so all these can be used and sometimes it might not be available for everything, so it's easier, like we can also make those cards or
Yeah.
so when you
Right.
want them to write something. So if you see kids with autism, they lack vocabulary words, they are very poor in writing skills also. So to help them
Yeah.
write,
They have difficulty in writing. Yeah.
yeah, they have difficulty in writing. So to help them to write better, give them these pictures. Fill in the articles and all, and then wherever the picture is there, ask them to put that word. So they'll slowly their writing skill also will improve.
Yeah.
And they'll also enjoy this process. See, because they cannot write, they don't enjoy this process.
Yeah.
They hesitate to write. They hesitate because it's not because they have any aversion to it, because they've developed that aversion because they find it a very laborious task.
Yeah, and you know what? Fine motor also plays a big role. Entire motor
Yes.
coordination plays a big role.
Yeah,
And
the way
based
they
on,
hold the pencil. Yeah.
yeah, and pencil holding, and then how much, how long I can write, the sustenance part basically.
Ah,
But yeah,
yeah,
there must be a very practical and a goal, basically a practical goal approach. So
yeah.
no parent would want ki, okay, my child should start writing one page on a one day. But we can
No,
start
yeah,
with the 7 words, depending on the child skill. Basically, we cannot just say for sure with the surety that
correct.
this is how you should do it, or this is how much your child should write. But some
Yes,
kids, they love writing. I know some of
yes.
my kids, they just love to write, and they can write everywhere around. And
Yeah.
some kids, they cannot just stand a pencil in their hand. So it
Hmm.
it usually varies,
Yes.
their skills and their patterns.
Yeah, so we also do one more thing, like with kids with for kids with developmental disorder who struggle to write or understand how a letter goes, the slanting and all, right? So what we can do is the parent can do, they can just trace that letter on their back, so they can feel
Yeah,
how the movement is. Yes, and then we
yeah.
can ask them to do. So initially, don't give them the pencil and all. Just start with sand trace. Yes,
Hmm.
that's a very nice technique to start with, so they can feel when they do it. You understand? Because as you said, the holding of the pencil, how they place their hand, everything matters for
Yeah.
them. So with the handwriting and all, right? Yeah.
But
So
this
these
reading and
techniques can be
writing
used.
program, like this reading and writing program is, we cannot say that this is we can apply to all the kids, because again, it
Not all,
depends
not
basically
for
on the
all the kids.
skills.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
even the use of gestures and use of signs, basically it all
Hmm.
very, very subjective, I'll say.
Yeah. Yes. See, all the strategies we are seeing today, it is not applicable for every child. And because each child's developmental strategy is very different.
Yeah.
Different. So when they are diagnosed with ASD, there'll be variations with between different between children itself. So not every child will have the same diagnosis of
Yeah.
the disease or the
Yeah,
disorder.
but
Yeah.
but depending on their kid skill, parents can choose what kind of visual strategies they can plan for their child.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. When you
yeah.
start with, we'll know where the strength lies. So we can pick up on that.
We can pick up on that. And one more thing, Tina, usually I see like kids, they are so good with, like we are discussing visual, so they are very good with pictures, okay? And
Ah,
they can,
yes.
have a
Yeah.
receptive understanding, pointing and giving, and every
Ah,
receptive instruction is like good. They follow it
ah,
quite nicely. I'm
yeah.
talking about autism specifically, okay? So when
Yeah.
we say a 3D object, or real glass is there, or a
Hmm.
real picture is there around, so when I, suppose for example, when I tell my child to match from picture to object,
Hmm.
so they find it, some kind of a trouble doing that. So to take this transition altogether from picture 2D to 3D,
Ah,
yeah,
yeah.
or basically vice versa. So how we
Hmm.
can, how as a parent we can plan something like that, so that the transition becomes easy, so that when I say to my child, okay, go and please get me a glass, so we can actually get up and
Ah,
go and take it, and then no, this is the glass, and I'll give it to other
yes.
person.
Yeah.
So see, for
Yeah.
us it's a very small process, but for our
Hmm.
kids it's a very complicated and multi-level process, right?
See, that's what, like, for them and all, we should use a very detailed instruction. That is also one of the strategy I've put on this, yeah, in the session. So you give them a detailed instruction. Never give them multiple instructions. Give them instructions in a very simple steps. So
Yeah,
just
we can start with the simple
yeah,
and then we can take it to the
yeah.
multi-level.
Then add on to, so one, yeah. So once
Yeah,
they accomplish this or they complete the task, and then add on to the next instruction. So they can't process multiple instructions. And if you give them
yeah,
multiple instruction, the only thing that will remain in the mind is the last instruction which they heard.
yeah, right, right.
Yeah.
The
Whatever
memory
is said
process, yeah,
before is just gone in the wind.
yeah, right, right, Tina.
So always remember that visual strategies is not only pictures, it also it includes vocabulary. See, as I said, when we are talking about or not when you're talking about teaching a toddler alphabets, when we give them the letter, we also tell them the sound of the letter.
Yeah,
So they'll relate both. So when we give them a
Yeah.
picture, we also tell them what that picture is, how the picture will sound, what is the spelling, everything they get to see. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So you're
it's
saying some
not
level
only,
of auditory is important to give in
yeah, so
between.
the auditory skill also is involved in visual imagery, not only the visual imagery part. And also this visual strategy, it should be viewed as a temporary support mechanism for communication only. So whenever you see the child has acquired that appropriate required skills, it's try to take it off. Now, give them the work task without the visual thing. So let
Yeah.
them do it. Yeah. So never keep that as permanent solution for the kid. And like as you said, Ruchika, there's no one particular approach for right for every child, because every child is very unique, and there are alternative types of strategies which are available. And we need to, by trial and error method only, we need to come out with the best approach.
For our
Which,
child.
which, yeah, for our
Yeah.
child. And,
Right, right. So one
and
more
like,
thing, I want to add
yeah,
one more thing here.
yes,
So,
sure.
usually you know, when we talk about any storybook, suppose, okay, I have a
Ah,
storybook and I have a child with me. So there is
mm,
a picture of anything,
ah,
animal, elephant, suppose. So,
mm.
so the way I'm going to talk to my child is not going to be like an instruction based. Okay. So like suppose if I
Yeah.
what is this? Say elephant, say elephant. So I
Ah.
think this will not increase their vocabulary, or like you said, the verbal exchange is
No, that's
important,
what I said,
but
right?
not in this manner.
When we say, yeah, so that's what when we talk or when we tell, we also use gestures. We show them elephant like this, or trumpet goes.
Yeah. Or
So the child gets
some
to,
kind of sound we relate, yeah.
yeah, we make
Which
sound for
make,
them.
yeah, so it becomes very interesting for them to explore. Okay, I want to see more
Yes.
storybooks. But the moment they get this question, what is this? What is the color? What is that? What is, so the
Yeah.
kids, they get away from the books and they feel like, oh my God, I don't want to do any more visuals.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what I want to highlight here is when we talk
Mm,
about auditory exchange with visual, it should
mm.
always be more, in a form where we can make it more exciting and more appealing
Yes.
for our kids to join with us and explore more books
Yeah.
or
True.
any
Yeah.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah, so now moving on to our next strategy, which is the adapted shared reading. This strategy is nothing but it's an adoption of our age-old famous bedtime stories. We all would have been grown up listening to bedtime stories and all, right? So we had a mama, papa coming to us in the night, reading a storybook with actions, with sounds, the intonation changes and all.
Yeah.
So we still remember how that story will be, how this animal will sound. So if it's a dark night, that expression of the dark night, okay, dark night will be a little scary and all this.
Yeah.
You know, so now I think in today's world, somewhere that is lost. The bedtime story concept is slowly fading away. Because kids are mainly, they're gadget oriented now. No, they just log,
Yeah.
yeah,
More
go
visual,
on to
less
YouTube.
auditory.
Yes, less auditory
Yeah.
skill. So if you see the shared reading method, it's a strategy, it's a method in which an adult will read aloud to a student while engaging the student in interaction through use of questions and discussions. And and this can be modified to meet the individual needs of an autistic child. And in this, we can maintain the plot and the important elements and the characters of the story and shorten the amount of text. Yes, show them more of gestures when we read it, and it is also important that at least 10 days has to be spent reading the same storybook again and again. So we all remember this very old, very famous movie, right? This Baby's Day Out,
Yeah.
where the mother every day takes the same book to the baby during the baby's meal time, and she shows this. The baby, when it is stepped out of the house, it will relate to the pictures. Yes,
Yeah.
happily. I saw this. You saw this. So these are all. This is how an autistic kid also will relate. Yeah, when you try to read these books and all with gestures, signs, and with thing
Tone
and
variations.
yeah, tone variation and all. So it's not only plain reading actually. This one it also covers the oral language, the phoneme awareness of the words, the letters. So and it also introduces new vocabulary words to the
True.
child, and it helps
Yeah.
them with pronunciation, fluency, and it help and also helps them with comprehension of whatever text is being presented to them.
Yeah, right.
But
And
10 times when
parents
you
can,
read, yeah,
I'm saying parents can
yeah, so
also generalize the same words in their day-to-day life, because you get so
yeah,
many
yes,
opportunities where we can generalize the concepts we read in book.
yes, yeah. So there are many storybooks, which is the one story is this Pepper. Pepper does recycling. Pepper is
Yeah.
one character in the book. There's actually a small monkey who's named Pepper. So if you see Pepper goes to the supermarket, so you when you show them these things, next time when you take them to the supermarket, tell them, yeah, we read in the book, right? Pepper did this, Pepper did this. So they get to relate when
Yeah.
we explain them.
And
Yeah,
somehow they get prepared also in their mind. Yeah, with the
yeah,
images, I also am going to do the same.
yes,
No?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gives them much interest actually. It gives it is their interest when you use all these methods rather than giving them one storybook of full of vocabulary words and only textual words and just plainly reading them. It's not going to
Yeah.
help them in any way. Yeah.
Right.
Moving on to detailed instructions. As I said earlier, any task, any work task you give, maybe a daily task also. So just give them a clear explanation of the task. Make flowcharts of this task. And don't use lengthy strings. Use simple language. And also use statements of what you want and not what you don't want. For example, if you're telling the child, draw a rectangle, then do not add and don't draw a square. Okay, because when you say draw a rectangle, don't draw a square, final thing which will remember, which the child will remember, is square only.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
plainly tell them, don't draw a rectangle. Just tell them what they are supposed to do. If there are do's and don'ts also, so when you make a detailed instructions for all the do's, give a green tick mark or anything. Oh, this is what they can do. This is what. So they get to know when there is a green tick mark, this is an appropriate behavior. I can stick on to this. I can stick on to this. And put a
Yeah.
big
A visual
cross
cue,
mark.
basically.
Yeah, so put a big cross mark on a don'ts. So they get to know, okay, this is not appropriate. I'm not supposed to behave this way, or I'm not
Yeah.
supposed to do this. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this will help them understand, okay, this is right behavior, this is the wrong behavior. Yeah. For social interaction skills, to teach them how to communicate with others, how to interact with the friends or the peers and all this. So we can use these detailed instructions. We can make cards and all and use them for them, which will help them like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do when I'm in a birthday party. This is what I'm not supposed to do when I'm in a birthday party. It'll help them. Yeah.
Yeah, but when we deal with flow time and we talk about play therapy,
Ah,
so
yeah.
we do a lot of visual preparations. So these
Hmm.
are known as visual stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you said, like we have to prepare a child for birthday party or for any other situation, for
Yeah.
example. So yeah, these visual cues can help us to create we can create a visual story based on our kids' challenges, and we can use pictures based on that. And this,
Ah,
in my experience, I have always seen that this usually works with kids.
yeah.
So setting up the rule bound, basically when I prepare rule cards for them, they know that this is
Ah.
expected out of them. So they know if a child is sitting,
Hmm.
straight on the chair, so they also try to model the same behavior.
Yeah. So
And
basically, there is a thing. It's a learning. There's an observational learning also, right? Where they imitate the behavior as such.
yeah,
Right? So yeah.
yeah. And I feel when we go at some place where we are not aware how the
Uh,
ambience is, what exactly is there around. So cues usually help us. The arrow, basic arrow usually helps me a lot. Okay, I
yeah,
have to go
true.
here.
Yeah,
This is the place I have to be. So
correct.
cues are definitely very, very beneficial for all of us.
Yeah, something like a Google map, like you said,
Yeah.
where a voice is there to tell us in 100 meters turn right, and you're into
Yeah.
this place. Yeah, that way,
True.
for them, detailed instruction is like a Google map only.
Yeah, we don't know where we'll reach there.
Yeah.
Where the voice. Yeah. So,
So, coming to the final strategy, which is creating a structured environment. And as I said, environment has a major influence on the behavior. It's not only for the autistic kid, even we adults also, environment plays a major role. So if we are in a very chaotic and a very noisy environment, obviously we also don't tend to work, uh, perform better, right? So imagine their world, how it will be. It'll be full of anxiety for them once they are thrown into a very chaotic environment. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, so some slight modifications or some minor changes in an environment will really make a big difference for them. Like give them a suitable workplace with suitable lighting. Don't use fluorescent colors or bright lights. It's better to avoid them, and also don't clutter them. Keep things organized for
But
them.
I want to
And
ask again the same question.
huh,
Won't they be dependent on the same structured place?
see, that's
You
what I
know?
said. See, once we feel that they are exhibiting that appropriate behavior, when we see as a parent, we get to know when they become little organized, or when they're starting to use a schedule, and slowly remove that.
Or,
Slowly
or,
remove that,
or we
and
should slowly expose them to some other
yes,
environment, slowly,
yes,
steadily, yeah?
yeah.
So that they
So take
won't get
them,
even dependent on the same structures, the same
yeah.
ambience.
Yes. So you're in a home environment, you tell them like after reading and all, you put back the books on a rack and everything. So give them a instruction, kind of stepwise instruction. But this has to be done. This has to be done. And like this is organized here and this. Then later take them to a library, which is a much calm environment, and tell them. So this is how the books are arranged here. All the books are like this and all. So stepwise, like gradient wise, you take them.
Yeah.
Immediately taking them and throwing them in a very higher environment will be like very disturbing for them. So rather than that, like slowly, like gradient wise, if you take them, it will be very helpful for them. So they'll also be able to relate. Okay, this is what I did here. I've seen the books in my house also arranged all story books in one way, and all my study books in one side. So here also it's going. It's the same way.
Yeah. Right.
Patterns.
Sequentially, parents can, give them little variations in the
Yes.
same place or at some other place.
Yeah. So then
Yeah.
also pay attention to the colors. Use light colors, and don't use fabrics which has lot of geometric patterns and all. It's not to create some disturbance within them. And so use curtains and homes and all. Use them with plain colors or very less patterns or only self designs or something like that.
But
Like
I feel like we are in India and we get a lot of different textures and
yes,
I'll give
yes.
you a very small example. Like I got shifted at one place and the alignment of the tube light was very different. It was not straight.
Hmm.
Okay, and my mentor came and he said, oh, this can disturb your child.
Yeah.
It's a tilted one though. But I told him that I am in India and maybe they were checking out lot many places with this different alignment. Maybe there
Yeah.
is a lamp but no bulb. But we have so many textures that child cannot avoid. We have so
Huh.
many places where our kids are like seeing something. Maybe they are disturbed, but you never know. Maybe they get adapted to
Correct.
some places. Maybe they
Yes.
are not. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Sometimes for us also, right? Something will be disturbing us. The moment
yeah,
we,
but it just
yeah, why?
to
Yeah.
to get this fine detail and to
Yeah.
understand, okay, my child can get disturbed with this thing is a big I'll say, like, the parent should
It's a
know the
challenge. It's a
child. It's a
challenge for the
challenge. Like,
parents.
you never
Yeah.
know what can be the antecedent of the behaviors which they.
I had a student. we had a small birthday celebration. So when the cake was delivered, he was so excited that he wanted the cake, he wanted the first slice only, and all this. But the moment like all the children gathered around and they started singing the birthday song, this poor kid, it started crying like anything. So that noise, that song and the decibel, he couldn't take itself. And
Yeah.
later, he didn't even want the cake. Right. So that is also there. So even a small slight change or elevation in the decibel also will really affect them. It will create such an anxiety feeling inside them.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So coming to the conclusion, so in a nutshell, if I have to conclude, there's no one strategy which is going to work for every child. And so, but a combination of all these strategy is have proven or have shown better results or have shown market improvement in kids. It's
Yeah.
uh,
Basically, integrated work is what they required,
yeah.
and basically
So
integration skill.
yeah, so it will help them increase their levels of independence and also will boost the confidence with them. So when they get to realize that they have done one task by themselves and it was correct and it was appreciated by us, yes, it will really boost their confidence levels. Yes. And also by like and we as parents or teachers by working together, I think we can ensure the best possible outcome for the kids and also in other individuals who are with uh, autism. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So providing visual aids and
Yes. Yeah. So to take home, like create a structured environment for them and make communication very easier. Don't use like lengthy conversations. Give them talk in small, simple sentences to them.
I
And
am being a floating provider. I don't usually agree, but yeah, when the child is studying, when he is on a tabletop, then yes,
huh,
the
yes,
instructions should
yes.
be crisp and short.
Instruction should be simple. Yeah.
Yeah,
Then also always give them some extra time. Yeah, tell them that this is the deadline and this is the time frame for this, but give them some extra time.
yeah,
And remember to use visual aids wherever possible as well.
yeah,
And and make sure that uh, all these potential stressors are all eliminated from their environment. And it's quite challenging, but we can at least, I think, to some level reduce it.
yeah. But you
Because
know what? We can always make sure that we should know what can be the potential stress for our kids. First, parents should
yes,
find out, they should write it, and
yes,
then they should plan it. So I think
yeah.
this
See,
will be a
yes, for
great
every
help for
child
kids.
it is different. For every child it is different. So it's the parents who are the best to know what are the potential stresses for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I also want to add here, once the child is out of the table time, once they are done with
Huh.
its study time,
Yes.
then to express emotions, to
Hmm.
them is very important. To talk in a lengthy
Correct.
conversation because is very important. That is how they
Yes.
will learn.
Yeah.
If suppose if a parent is just talking in a one word to that
No,
with their
see,
child,
this is like when you give them some instructions, we can adopt it. But
yeah,
like always, we
yeah,
can't keep talking to them in a
yeah,
one word, right? But
yeah.
like when you talk to them, like, talk in a very slow pace so that they can understand what you're talking.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
right.
so when you're introducing any new vocabulary word there, tell them what it means. Hence,
Yeah,
or it is also it has to be like they should also be very clear in what they're expecting from the child.
right.
Yeah.
So I always believe that
Yeah.
it's a chameleon effect. Like I feel I talk to my kids a lot. Like
Yeah.
at times they feel so happy that
Yes.
something is going on. They understand or they don't understand, but they enjoy it a lot. So
Yeah.
we engage in a lot of play,
Every
tickle, and we
yes.
talk. And it's like I'm sure receptively they get it. And the
Hmm.
moment I say things, the smile on their face and the reaction they give me is like completely
Yeah.
amazing. And that is why I encourage my parents who come to me that talk to them like you talk to a baby.
True. Yes. Of
And
all the therapies,
yeah,
we have seen talk therapy is the best. You know, when you talk and when the kids, once the rapport is built with the child,
yeah,
and they'll open up. So by talking only, we can build the rapport. Look,
yeah,
every class of mine, the first 10 minutes goes in. What did you do today morning? What you had? What happened? Why is your mood like this? And all this, then it'll slowly it'll come. So once that routine is set up, right, the moment then they're into my classroom itself, ma'am, you know, this happened today without even me asking. The flow will
yeah.
come.
Right, right. We see, we see this thing with a lot of our kids.
Yes.
Yeah. So, so
So I
yeah,
think
Tina.
that's it for the session. And
Yeah,
hope all
Tina.
these strategies will help our parents to make some change for their kids.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. I'm sure it's going to be beneficial for all our
Yes.
parents. And yeah, the tips for the parents is something like, it's very, you have written it quite
Yeah.
well, like the creating environment, making communication
Mm.
simple and easy, keeping instructions simple, and giving them extra time,
Yeah.
providing them visual aids, and the use of visual boards, basically depending on
Both.
the,
Yeah.
yeah, what is expected out of them, or how they can
Correct.
do
Yes.
some tasks based, with the visual
Mm.
depiction. Yeah, and to eliminate and to know first the potential stresses and
First,
then
no.
to
Yeah.
eliminate. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, so you can just stop the screen share. Yeah. So it's a request from all the parents. Like if you have any questions or query regarding
Huh.
anything, we are happy to answer, and you can send your remarks on the comments below. Thank you so much. I hope it will help. And thank you so much, Tina, for joining us.
Thank you, Ruchika, for giving me this wonderful
And
opportunity.
yeah,
It
thank
was,
you so much. And I hope it will help a lot of parents to
yeah,
deal and
yes,
plan and to go on with our kids
yes, yes.
learning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.